Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today on Around Kansas, we start with a story about the small town of Denmark, Kansas, founded in Lincoln County by Danish Lutherans in 1869. Next, it's birthday time. Please join our neighbors to the north in celebrating Nebraska's 150th birthday. Then enjoy a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with an ode to the March wind. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the yellow brick road. Good morning, I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas, and today we're under the dome. Yeah. There's a lot of hot air in here for some reason.
You know, if this were, if this were a less substantial structure with all the hot air, it might just float off into the sky. So it's lots of good folks here working very hard during session. And lots going on at the Dillon House. So we left the Dillon House today and for the next couple of weeks to come over and visit the state capitol. Keep tab. Yeah, we're spying on the government. We're spying on the government.
Well, last time we were here, there was a Christmas tree behind us.
So there's been a lot
we just
happen.
Have people now, so.
A lot happened since the Christmas tree came down, hasn't it, Frank?
Yes.
A lot going on.
So anyway, if you're in Topeka, you really need to come and see your state capitol because this is an absolutely gorgeous place. It really is.
You know, and spy on the government. While you're here, just go in and, let your legislators know that you're interested, that you're following what they're doing. You know, accountability is what makes this government run. So let them hear your voice.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out real quick to Dr. Dan Thompson. And Dr. Dan, of course, is the host of Doc Talk every Monday morning. And with all the fires that have occurred in Kansas this March, March truly has been a devastating one for many areas of Kansas. And Dr. Dan is always one of the first people to jump in and spearhead the relief efforts, working in coordination with other veterinarians around the state because they're a lot of times the first on the scene and they're aware of the livestock loss, of the loss of hay and feed and fence and just all the other things that are going on. So shout out to Dr. Dan and bless your heart for all the hard work you do, Dr. Dan.
Yeah. So, quite a, it just now is spring, but boy, did we get started early with tornado warnings and prairie fires and wow.
Really, Mother Nature has unleashed her vengeance, hasn't she?
So,
she has come on with the fury.
You know, along about July, it'll only be 150 degrees. So.
Yeah, what do we say about loving the seasons? You know, people move away and said, "Oh, I can't. I would miss the seasons."
Yeah.
I say that too, but I might not miss all of the seasons. I might not miss the extreme the seasons.
Well, but didn't it just snow once this winter?
Oh, our winter was ridiculous.
One time.
We just had no winter, really.
Well, in Chicago, no snow for the first time in 176 years.
Yeah, and then some folks up in Montana and other places, they're digging out under incredible snows. And I heard them talking in California, the runoff this year, they're concerned about flooding, like 9 feet of snow in the Sierras. It's going to be melting.
I know.
It's crazy.
Isn't it fun?
It's crazy. So. And we got a crazy show for you. Stay with us.
It's time, the Great Bend Farm and Ranch Expo, April 5th, 6th, and 7th in Great Bend, Kansas. 700 booths filled over 80 acres of exhibits. Dale Brisby, the 6th and 7th at 1 o'clock, sponsored by American State Bank. Find all your livestock equipment needs, precision tillage equipment at the Great Bend Farm and Ranch Expo. Free admission, free parking. Corporate sponsors American Hat Company, Great Bend Co-op. Go to starexpos.net. That's April 5, 6, 7. You don't want to miss it.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. And we're back.
Frank, I love it when folks contact me with ideas and I don't have to come up with my own. And this next story is one of those examples. Deborah Parmenter sent me a message on Facebook. Look at our Facebook page, share your pictures, share your news. But she wanted us to do a segment on Denmark. And it's just an amazing little town. I have been to Denmark. And another example of, one of those European countries or folks, European refugees came and colonized just a little
So we're talking
piece of
about
Kansas.
Denmark, Kansas.
We're talking about
Yes.
Denmark,
Okay.
Kansas.
Right.
So when you visit their Facebook page, make sure you're like Denmark, Kansas in parentheses. So yeah, make sure you check out the right one. But it's just a lovely little town on Highway 18 out in Lincoln County. And what they're doing out there, like so many little towns around Kansas, is absolutely amazing. We're very proud of your work. The passion expressed by Deborah Parmenter for Denmark, Kansas would lead one to believe that she must have grown up there, even though San Diego is her home. But no, she didn't spend her childhood in Denmark, yet her roots in the small Kansas town go back 5 generations. Danish Lutherans established Denmark in Lincoln County in 1869, one of the first permanent settlements in the county, while the Plains tribes were still trying to keep white settlers away. The Danes were fleeing their own troubled homeland in the south of Denmark, where Germany laid claim to the land. For these Danes, like thousands of other Europeans, America was the promised land. It seems to have become that for Deborah as well, explaining that the original town location, or Upper Denmark, was going to be bypassed by the railroads coming through, so the townfolk began building Lower Denmark, a mile or so away in 1917. A hotel, post office, bank, and commercial building, the Andresen Building, were constructed. As its heyday came and went, the structures began to crumble. Deborah bought the hotel 10 years ago and remodeled it for a residence, where she divides her time between Denmark and San Diego. But across the street, her own family story and the stones and mortar of the Andresen Building was falling down. Deborah spearheaded the creation of the Denmark Preservation Foundation, which is dedicated to saving this and other structures. It has asked Greg Rude to be its official photographer, documenting the transformation. Denmark is one of those places with only a few dozen folks remaining. There is no post office, no school. Denmark is not even officially any longer a town. Yet the Lutheran Church thrives, as does the community center beside it. The annual Pheasant Day Lunch and the Festival of the Nativities are 2 events that bring visitors to the town. There are 2 Facebook pages to follow the success of the project or to learn how to become involved. Get Denmark, Kansas, and the Denmark Preservation Foundation. Better yet, just head out Highway 18 and drop in. Tell them Around Kansas sent you.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
I had this horse. It was a good horse, except for when the wind was blowing above 30 miles an hour. Wind was blowing about 35, 40, and I saddled him up, rode him out to the end of the lane, and I thought, well, he's doing pretty good. And about 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better, and so I went to orthopedic surgeon, and that showed that I had torn rotator cuff. And he said, well, we'll have to do surgery. I thought, I farm and ranch by myself. This is not going to work out very well. I'd been sleeping in my recliner for about 2.5 years because it hurt too much to sleep in bed on my side. And I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio and gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over. They just took some fat out of my side here and spun that down for about 45 minutes and then injected it in my shoulders, and I was on my way. It's something you don't hear about, but I thought it was worth a try, and I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
Fort Wallace stood on the frontier in the midst of the Plains Indians Wars on a major stage route and rail line. Beside the 1865 stagecoach station, a modern museum with thousands of artifacts tell that story, like the fossil of a 40-foot plesiosaur is suspended from the ceiling. Located on Highway 40 midway between Hayes and Colorado Springs, the Fort Wallace Museum is as welcome a sight today as the fort itself in the 1860s. Discover the fightingest fort in the West. This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. And here we are again. This is Around Kansas, and it's the show that talks about people, places, and things that make Kansas a great place to live and work. And if you're going to travel this way, stop and see some great stuff.
And we got lots of great stuff, starting with the Statehouse right here in Topeka.
Yeah.
So come and see this incredible Statehouse. Sit up in the balconies and watch them at work, and while you're here, make your voice heard. Let them know that you're holding them accountable. So I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah.
Lots of good folks working here today, though. I've run into a lot of old friends already today, and some of them are legislators, some of them are lobbyists, some of them are, work for other state agencies, but there are a lot of good people. As much as we tease, there's a lot of good folks here.
Yeah.
And of course, we want to give a shout out to our neighbor to the north, Nebraska.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? We can be generous, can't we, Frank? We can be kind. So Nebraska is marking its 150th anniversary of statehood this year. In fact, March 1st, I think, was the official date, but they're celebrating all year long.
All year, yep. So anyway, it's an interesting story, a little bit of history about Nebraska, and then how they got their sesquicentennial celebration together.
And, we're just a little bit older than Nebraska. Our history is just a little more interesting than Nebraska's. Our scenery is just a little better than Nebraska's. But while we're feeling generous, happy birthday, Nebraska.
Yeah, so this is Around Kansas, and we're going to talk about Nebraska. Kansas and Nebraska have shared a unique relationship for at least 160 years since the Kansas-Nebraska Act was passed in 1854. As Kansas marks its third most significant anniversary in 2017, our neighbor to the north is marking the anniversary of statehood. Nebraska entered the Union March 1, 1867. Nebraska kicked off a year-long celebration on January 1st, a year of hosting a variety of programs and projects across the state. Planning for the Nebraska 150 celebration began in 2012 when a group of active citizens from across the state formed the Friends of the Nebraska 150 Foundation. In 2014, the Nebraska Sesquicentennial Commission was established by the state legislature, and 17 members from across the state were appointed by the governor to lead the initiative. In 2015, the Celebrating Nebraska Statehood Foundation was established to help coordinate efforts and direct everyone toward collective success. Nebraska's 150th birthday presents a unique opportunity in time to honor its heritage, celebrate its growth, and plan for the future. The celebration will serve as a catalyst for a movement that goes beyond 2017, a strategic initiative that promotes a spirit of pride, growth, engagement, and connection within Nebraska by bridging Nebraskans across different communities, perspectives, and cultures, building a connection with every Nebraskan to the celebration of the state, instilling in every citizen an even greater sense of pride. We'd like to add another goal, that of creating a greater connection between Nebraskans and Kansans. Our fates, geographically, financially, politically, and socially, have been linked for more than a century, and that will never change. Let's help our northern neighbors celebrate, and while you're visiting, invite them back to Kansas. While we may shun the household with "Go Huskers," we can find many other ways to make our Nebraska neighbors feel welcome. Happy birthday, Nebraska. Tarwater Farm and Home has been family-owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard. Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
It's time, the Great Bend Farm and Ranch Expo, April 5th through the 7th in Great Bend, Kansas. This is your regional expo held in the heart of Kansas. J.D. Wing Horse Clinician all 3 days, sponsored by T-Cross Ranch and Bobby Norris Realty. Bradford Cattle Dogs, Border Collie demos all 3 days. Live cattle, beer garden, 80 acres and 3 buildings of exhibits. Corporate sponsors American Hat Company, the Great Bend Co-op. Go to starexpos.net for more information. April 5, 6, 7.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
There is a group called the Kansas Barn Alliance, which promotes and preserves barns as a vital part of the rural lifestyle of Kansas. This poem is entitled, Barns Are Beautiful. I think a barn is a beautiful thing, surrounded by grass in the early spring. It's a place of shade to store some hay with stanchions for milking cows along the way, or perhaps a tack room or stalls, of course, where you can stable a cow or a horse. Or maybe it's converted to some modern use, which a rural landowner will come to choose. It may have a gable or gambrel roof to maintain, topped off by a cupola or a weather vane. It may be built of stone or old wood, but it brings back memories of when times were good. It's a symbol of our nation's rural legacy, a part of our landscape for all to see. And when you've worked hard on the range and you're all in, just waiting for the workday to come to an end, it's sweet to hear those words when the boss says, oh darn, I guess it's quitting time. Let's go to the barn. Happy Christmas.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Buffalo Bill Cody earned his legendary title in Oakley. Bring the family and come celebrate Oakley's pioneering history and unique geography at two sites, the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center and the Fick Fossil Museum. Cody's statue marks his achievements and welcomes visitors to the Cultural Center. The Fick Fossil Museum houses world-class fossils and artifacts. You'll find Oakley at the hub of U.S. Highways 83 and 40 and I-70. Stop for the legend. Stay for the day. Discover Oakley. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
So Frank, the other day, I don't know if you got to see it, but I posted on Facebook a video with just the sound turned up of the wind in our door out on the high plains, and I swear it was all Dr. Jake and I could do to hear each other above the wind, and it was like vibrating the door, and the sound was like aliens. I mean, it was just coming from the right angle, and there's a storm door, and this is a 1910, 16 farmhouse, so this is a 19-something door, a substantial door. This is not just some flimsy door, and it was just trembling like this in the wind. So that inspired this next segment.
Well, you know, March, that's when you get out the kites and fly them and all that, except in a gale force wind.
I'm telling you, Jake was talking about that kite weather, and I'm like, man, you'd be in Nebraska by now or somewhere, you know, St. Louis or someplace if you tried to fly a kite in some of the winds we've had this spring.
Well, the first part of the month, you know, because I'm on Ren Radio, renradio.net. Anyway, the forecast day after day after day was red flag warning, and you know we'd have wind gusts to 45 miles an hour.
70 miles an hour in western Kansas.
There's nothing to stop it out there.
Really, like one of the legislators used to tell me, nothing between us and the North Pole but a barbed wire fence, and it's down half the time. So. Yeah, it's been crazy.
That's pretty good. So, anyway, let's hear about the wind.
The March wind screams around us like a keening banshee. It wails through the night and shoves the sun toward the horizon in the morning. It seemingly scatters the stars. The dust in the barnyard obscures the horses, and even the cats scurry to hide. It is obvious why March was named for the Roman god of war. Nature is at war with itself. Heating, cooling, air, earth, and water. None is yet in sync as spring is wrested from the grasp of winter. The March wind blows rain, snow, and petals of flowers brave enough to burst through one of the warm spells. Nothing is spared the wind's wrath. On the high plains, roads are closed. It is safer than risking a semi's flipping over. Even hardened ranchers, accustomed to the extremes of weather, put off chores to another day in the face of the March wind. Horses become nervous. Their nostrils flare. Their ears are pointed. They become jumpy. The cows simply hunker down, clinging to the pasture to keep from blowing into the fence. They dig in their hooves. The red-tailed hawk is suspended, trying as he might to fly to another field. He eventually gives up, turns, and is swept away. March wind is like the stern schoolmaster hovering above your desk. You will change, you will, I will make you change. Yes, the March wind changes everything in its path. It rearranges the landscape. Bent, broken, rearranged. It is an endurance test, challenging us to prove we deserve to see spring. It is the ultimate spring cleaning, sweeping every loose thing from sight. If your house is not pulled from its foundation, I promise the world will look very different in the morning. We'll be back from the Statehouse next week. In the meantime, I'm Deb.
I'm Frank, and we'll see you somewhere
Around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream. We're the best part